Absolutely.
What's up, everybody? Good morning to everyone, and welcome to another edition of Breakfast with Disaster, where we tell you about all the worst, most terrible things that can happen to you so that you know how to avoid them. My name is Dan Bauer. I'm with ServPro of the South Towns, ServPro of West Seneca Lancaster. With me is Tyler Jordan.
How's it going?
And we've got a great show for you guys today. We're going to get into the disasters very shortly. But I did want to give you guys an update on Valentine's for our troops. And good morning to Brianna and Kathy and everyone joining. Lisa. Valentine's for our troops, if you guys haven't kept up with it, if maybe you didn't see the show last week, it's an initiative that we are doing in collaboration with the Blue Star Mothers New York 7 chapter and the West Seneca Central School District. Here's what it is. Blue Star Mothers, incredible group of moms and stepmoms and grandmothers and female legal guardians with kids in the military. And every month they put together these awesome care packages. We wanted to support that. We wanted to make it a little extra special. So we brought in the West Seneca Central School District, a bunch of classrooms over there making these adorable handmade Valentines. Quite a few of them is what I'm told. I'm picking them up tomorrow. And we're donating snacks and kind of comfort foods, things for those care packages that are going to hopefully help those service members feel a little bit more at home, no matter where they are. So I want to thank, I've got my list here, a lot of people have donated already. The American Legion Auxiliary New Faulkner Unit 880, Bonetto Insurance Agency, Wolf Agency, Kathy Bells over at Promark Crawford, Lisa Damstetter, Andrea Harvey, Christy Noonan at Hunt Real Estate, everybody at West Seneca Central Schools, the teachers, the families. So many people have decided to get involved with this. It's going really well. I think it's going to be pretty cool. If you guys do want to get involved, there's still time. I'm delivering all the donations on the evening of the 3rd. So they're looking for really, I put this in the comments, but really like basic, non-perishable, easy-to-transport snack foods like cans of chips and Pop-Tarts, beef jerky, packets of water that you can add to your, or packets of like flavoring that you can add to your water, things like that. Very simple stuff you can get at BJ's or Tops or wherever. If you do want to donate, you have a couple of days. Like I said, I'm donating everything on the 3rd. Just drop it off here at our warehouse at 97 Evans Street or shoot me an email and I may be able to pick it up. But that is going really well. I am excited. Thank you to everybody who has donated. I think it's going to be pretty cool. We're going to talk about something that's a little less cool, but something that you need to know about, something that you may already be dealing with today. It's another edition of our Disaster Forecaster. You know that everybody here at ServPro, we've been doing cleanup and restoration and construction for about 26 years. We've seen all sorts of things. We're also a little bit psychic, so between quarter century of experience and a little bit of clairvoyance, we can kind of tell with some certainty what's going to go wrong in the next coming month, specifically February. And I have bad news. It's always bad news, I guess, with us, but this is particularly bad news considering how bad it was last year. And that is ice dams. We are looking for ice dams, lots of ice dams in February. Not ice jams, as some people call them. Certainly not nice jams, spice jams, anything like that. ICEDAMS. You're going to be seeing a lot of those in February, most likely, and they can be kind of destructive. In fact, we see them spike about 70% each February. And last year, 2021, was really, really bad. So I'm hoping this year is not as serious, but you never know. We've already had a couple of calls about them. Before we get into it, Tyler, you made something about this.
I did, and so I actually think this is a pretty cool topic, if you know what I mean. Ice cool. So I actually made a little a go-to sheet. I was researching ice dams myself because I really didn't know what to do if I myself had one. If my brother, some of my friend asked me, what do? I have an ice dam. I really wouldn't know what to say. So I wanted to make this little sheet for myself, and then I kind of realized if I don't know what to say, maybe other people don't know what to say. So I went ahead, made this here. Tells you a little bit about the ice dams, what they are, why they're dangerous, and on the other side gives you a little flow chart of how to respond to somebody if they're telling you I have an ice dam, there's still ice up on the roof. How do I get it down? A little helpful chart.
So if you want a copy of that, it is a nice thing to have in your desk drawer, especially for insurance agents. If you have somebody call you and they have an ice dam and they don't know what to do, you can kind of give them some advice. Just shoot us a comment, let us know. We'll drop one off for you. It's a nice infographic that will save you some head scratching and some frustration. So let us know. Tyler will drop one of those off for you. I will tell you a little bit about them myself. Ice dams. If you don't know what they are, they have nothing to do with adorable, busy little beavers here. I wish they did. They, in fact, have everything to do with your roof. Here's a simplified diagram of what an ice dam is. Basically, these form when ice builds up on the eaves of a sloped roof, right there on the edge, and stops any further snowmelt from coming down, any further water from flowing. It literally forms a dam of ice. And if that water cannot drain properly, as we know really well here at Surf Pro, you may know yourself, water does not just disappear. It needs to go somewhere. And in this case, it could go through your cracks in your roof. It could go into your attic, into your walls. And you may not know that this is happening until your ceiling starts to sag or collapses on you. So it's bad right now, and it's going to be bad because we've got a lot of snow. We've had some deep freezes and then some thaws and some deep freezes. That can make things kind of rough. The real cause of it, and this is a much more stressful looking version of that diagram, isn't so much the temperature changes as it is uneven heating of your roof. If the top of that slope is warmer because heat is escaping at the highest point of your house, which is natural, but if it's too much of it escaping, maybe your insulation isn't quite set up right, it's going to melt all that snow right at the top. It's going to melt down, get to the bottom of your roof, and refreeze where it's cooler. And that's going to cause the dam, and you're only maybe going to notice because you're going to see these crazy, kind of cool-looking icicles, which are very wintry and beautiful, but also are a sign that something has gone wrong. And you can see in this diagram, it shows you it does drip in all sorts of nasty places where you really do not want water. I'll show you an example of some we've dealt with. This is a pretty minor one. You can see this homeowner really only noticed this was happening because they saw this water dripping down their walls. They were pretty quick on the draw. Noticing this, they got us out there to dry it out, and this is about as bad as it got. On the other hand, this happened right in the same time period. You can see this is a big hole in somebody's ceiling. They had water coming in. They noticed their ceiling was sagging. By the time they called us, it was too late. That ceiling had basically caved in, and this was a much bigger fix, I should say, because we had to cut that whole ceiling out, take the upper cabinets down, dry out those cavities. It was not a fun February for this person. This happened last year. So I don't want this to happen to you, so I'm sure don't want it to happen to your house or any of your insureds. How do you prevent ice dams from doing this, damming up water, having that water leak back into your house through your roof, through your walls, getting your insulation wet, ruining it? It's a mess. How do you prevent that? There are a couple of longer-term fixes that are effective, but a lot harder to do. The main issue, usually, that causes ice dams is uneven heating of that roof, like I said before. To deal with that, you have to go and address your insulation. You have to go potentially up into your attic and pull that insulation down. Look for cracks where air leaks might be happening, where heat may be getting out of your house unabated and melting areas of the snow on the roof and then causing it to drip down. That's tough, and it is not a fun job. It's very tedious, and it's hard to know that you've done it well because you're literally hunting around your attic with like a caulk gun trying to find all these leaks. Not to say that it's impossible, especially if you're handy and diligent, but it's not a lot of fun. Most people don't do this. Most people say this is really not worth it unless the ice damming is really bad or they really know what they're doing. There are other things that you can install as well. This is an ice and water shield that you can put under your roofing. It's really just like an adhesive mat. This can be very helpful for keeping water from leaking into your walls, through your roof, etc. Places where it would usually jam up. But this isn't also something you probably won't want to tackle just because. This is something maybe you will do if you're re-roofing, but there's really no good reason to do it if you're not doing that. There's no reason to tear up your existing roof if it doesn't need to be torn up just to throw this shield down. Instead, I would probably recommend a couple of different secondary fixes. The main one that most people do is they have roof rakes. I know if Kathy Quinn's on, we were talking about this. Roof rake is just a very long rake that you can use to yank snow off your roof. It's not fun. It can be a little physical and a little tedious, but it is effective in getting that snow down so that it doesn't melt, so that it doesn't cause a dam, and you don't have problems. If you know that you're susceptible to ice damming, if you've seen a lot of icicles around your roof, a roof rake's a good investment. The one thing I would warn you about, and I've seen people do this and it's not safe, you really only want to use these on a single-story home. A two-story home, if you're going to be standing on a ladder, it's not safe to be swinging this rake around trying to pull down snow. You're putting yourself at significant risk of falling, of hurting yourself. I would not recommend it. But single-story, just ground floor, raking, it's very effective for getting the snow off so you don't have to deal with the actual ice damming that can occur because of uneven heating. People also install these, and I'm sure you've seen them. These sort of zigzaggy heat cables can also be effective. You want to make sure they're installed right. Main thing is they're going to be melting snow anyway when it gets down there. Does that water still have a place to go when it melts? Usually people will run these down their downspouts to make sure that those gutters are cleared, that water is still able to run off, because there's nowhere for it to go, even if you're melting it down here, it's still going to cause a problem. Finally, I did have okay, this is one I didn't put in, but people sometimes talk about it. I don't know if I totally trust it. They will literally put like rock salt inside of a pair of pantyhose and throw it on their roof. I've seen this cause damage to roofs, so I ended up taking it out. But it's something that people do recommend. You can Google it if you feel like that's something you want to be caught doing outside. It does make you look a little like the weird neighbor, but it can be effective in some cases for melting that snow. If you do have ice damming, and you do have water damage coming, you have some sort of structural damage, there are a couple things that you can do, and it's not rocket science, but people panic in these moments. Number one, and I think a lot of people here would probably agree, but if you're a homeowner, you probably want to get your insurance involved as soon as possible, especially if there's significant damage and you're probably going to put in a homeowner's claim. You want to make sure that process gets moving as soon as you possibly can. Number two is actually remove the dam. There are different ways to do this. People, I again would not recommend this. We'll get up there with like hatchets. You can damage your roof that way. Usually when people call us and they still have a pretty big ice dam on their roof, I suggest they call a roofer who can get up there and kind of manually remove it. But there are different ways to get these down if you're feeling crafty. The reason it's important to get this dam down is you don't want further water backing up and coming into your house. And that's why number three is to fix your roof. If you did have water damage, if you had water coming in your walls, or your ceiling sagging, or you have wet insulation, it's very important to fix that leak before you really go any further. There's no real point in getting started with drying or extraction or any of that if water is going to continue to come in. So number 2 and 3, usually that's when you get a roofer involved. So call your insurance, call a roofer, they'll deal with the dam, they'll fix your roof. And then number 4, obviously, is to call us. If there's water in that house, be it in wet insulation or in a ceiling or in a wall, it's really important to dry that out. Especially if, say, it's in, obviously if you have your ceiling sagging and it falls in your kitchen, you're going to want to deal with that. But if they say there's water in your attic and you have wet insulation up there, that insulation's toast. Water sitting up in that attic, that is a great place for mold to form, especially where you might not notice it's getting bad until it's too late. You really, really, really want to get this dried out. Last year, what we did a lot of was actually moisture checks for people. They would have ice damming, they would have some water come in. We would just come in with our meters and say, okay, here's where the water is, here's how bad it is. You need drying, maybe you don't need drying. It was an effective way to sort of help people figure that out and help insurance adjusters kind of decide, what is going on here, what are they covered for. So, number 4, after you get that roof fixed, call us. We will kind of help you get a handle on this problem. Because if this February is anything like last February, we think this is going to be kind of bad. So, ice damming in February, that's our disaster forecaster. Watch out. Don't let it happen to you. If you see those icicles forming, you probably have a problem. And if you want to learn more about this, if you want to have your one sheet right in front of you, just give us a call, or shoot us an email comment here. We'll drop off our infographic explainer so that you can keep it in your desk drawer in case somebody does call you and need some help. Now let's get to the fun part. It is time to draw our prize for the Serve Pro Mug Club. So I hope you guys are excited. If you're watching and you are unfamiliar with the Serve Pro Mug Club, here's what it is. You get a coffee mug like this. On the bottom is a number. And we register that number to this wheel. We draw a prize every week on this live stream. If we draw your number, you win a prize. And if you're watching and we draw your number, we double that prize. So if you're watching right now and I don't know you're watching, the only way I can know is if you comment. So leave a comment, say hi, say good morning, say get a haircut, whatever you need to say to me so that I know you're here. I'm going to give you a couple seconds to do that. And then we're going to go over here to the Wheel of Names and give it a spin. So Everybody's getting ready. Everybody's joining. Everybody's commenting. I say we spin. We're spinning, and we're spinning, and we're spinning. Where will we land? We got 224 names in here. I got to do like a big prize drawing to celebrate that. 398. Gretchen Schroeder, I know you're on here from Markham Bigsby, is our winner. Gretchen, yeah, you're definitely on here. We talked already. So Gretchen, we will give you a call. We will set up a time to come drop your prize, but you were one of our first commenters, and I'm very happy to say you were also our double prize winner of the day. So congrats, Gretchen. We will see you soon. To everybody else, this has been Breakfast with Disaster, where we, of course, tell you everything that can go wrong so that it doesn't happen to you, and in February, that's going to unfortunately be ice dams. If you have water damage, call ServPro. If you need your roof fixed, you can call us. We can help you find a roofer. We will make it very easy for you, your insureds, whoever. We're here 24/7 for you. I'm Dan Bauer. This is Tyler Jordan. You guys have a great day.